All right, hey guys, Jason here. We are back with the channel, and what we're going to talk about today is introduction to getting your first traditional bow. I know there's a lot of videos out here, but I get this comment and these questions so many times, and it takes so long to type this information out. It's exhausting to type it out when somebody just says, hey, how do I get started? I want to get a trad bow. You can't just answer that with go to the store, okay? You got to get detailed. And I'm frankly, like I said, I'm just tired of constantly typing all that out because it is so much. So we're going to put it in a video that I can just say, oh, watch this video. So that is the plan that we are going to do. So here we go. So we got a Samick Sage here. Okay, Ben and we've got 4 of these bows. They're fantastic. Simple starter bow. I hate the word starter bow, because in reality, you could buy this bow and hunt with it for the rest of your life and have no problem. Same with a Black Hunter, same with a Sandilia or whatever they call them. They're great bows. So it's not a starter bow, yet people seem to think that. But so you want to buy one of these. There are some things that you need to figure out first on here when you are doing it. Did I pick one that doesn't have, and it's going to be a pain in the butt? Did I really? Hang on. They're buried in the limb pockets, I'm sure, right? Aren't they? Come on, really? They do that? That's kind of upsetting. So, all right, hang on a second. We'll be right back with you because I thought we'd have the numbers and stuff on here. So hold on, be right back. We grab a different... All right, so we went and grabbed Tina's bow because this one actually has it. But so there's numbers on a bow that we're looking for when we buy it. But also on top of that, we're going to tell you what you need. But see, this is what's important that we see on here. See these numbers right here? These numbers on there? So that's a serial number. Okay, that's no big deal. But what we want is the AMO 58-inch length bow. 45 pounds. Now, since it says 45 on here and it's not specified like 45 at 26 or things that you get with custom bows, all mass-produced bows, their draw weight is measured at 28 inches. So if you take and you draw this bow 28 inches of draw length, that's your bow weight. If you draw less by an inch to 27, you're going down about 3 pounds per inch lower below that 45 for every inch. If you're drawing more, you're going up about 3 pounds per every inch. So you need to figure that out when you're calculating. So how do you figure out what your draw length is? It is a pretty simple process. So if we take this bow, for example, your draw length is measured from the throat of the nock of the arrow. Excuse me. From the throat of the nock, which we have right here, and it is measured so that where that's going to sit on your string. We got left-handed arrows here, but there we go. But it's going to measure from where you draw this to when you come to full draw. It's going to be measured right to the face of the bow, the back face of the bow. Well, how do you do that when you're by yourself? It's a pretty easy process. So what you can do is just get yourself a piece of cardboard like this, just a standard piece of cardboard. Pop your arrow off. Take your arrow and just punch it through the cardboard, okay, like this, so it slides up and down the string, okay? Then let it be flat. So then what you're going to do is you're going to put this on here and set it on here, and as you draw this, okay, put it back here far enough like this, so when you draw, you're going to draw through that. So as I take this bow, I got my tab on here, a million things that I brought out here to show you, but anyway, so as we draw this, you're going to see that this cardboard is going to come in and hit the face of this. When it does, that's when we know that we've stopped. So you want to make sure your hand is out of the way or turn it so that it's not going to bump your hand. Okay, have it so it's not going to get in the way of your hand. So you're going to come back and draw this. See how it stays there? And I come into full draw and I hit it like that. Now, see how that cardboard stayed right there on the end. Okay, so with this recurve, that's how far that's what my draw length is right there. We then measure that from the nock throat of the arrow to the inside of where that cardboard is, and we put a mark on there. Put a mark right on it, and then repeat the process and do it again. And when you do, I'll do it on this bow, you can see it without the arrows on there. When you do it again, you're going to basically do this 3 or 4 times and take the average of those 3 or 4 times, and that's basically what your draw length is going to be. So same kind of concept as we draw this. See how that cardboard hits? We keep pulling, 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 and then when we come back, that's our draw length. And we take and we put a mark right on the inside of this, right there with a Sharpie marker, and that is our draw length from the throat of the nock to the end of the arrow. So you don't need somebody to do it for you. This is a simple process to be able to figure out what your actual draw length is. Once you know that, you now know what size, what bow weight you need to get. If you are, I have a spider web that I walk through over there, and it is not only stuck all over my face, it's in my mouth. That's why you saw me doing this. It's literally, I just walked through a big spider web at that end over there a minute ago, or just before I started this. But so now you know your draw length, you can figure out your bow weight. What do we say about bow weight? It's measured at 28 inches. If you are drawing 28 inches and you want a 45-pound bow, you buy a 45-pound bow at 28 inches and you're good to go. If you're only drawing 26 inches and you want a 45-pound bow, you realize you're down about 5 to 6 pounds of bow weight because you're 2 inches under 28. So therefore, you're going to want to buy a 50-pound bow to get you about a 45 pounds of draw at your draw length. So hopefully that makes sense and you understand what we're getting at with that. So that is one thing that you're going to have to understand. That's the start. The next one, arrows. People are always like, well, what arrows do I got to shoot? It's not like your compound days. Okay, there's too many variables. Nobody can answer that for you. Now, you can get close. I do not answer arrow spine questions because I've shot the same arrows out of the same weight bows for the last almost 20 straight years. So I don't even play with that stuff anymore. And even if I did, there's too many variables. The way you shoot, do you pull through? Are you short drawn? Are you coming in? Are you creeping? Are you a plucker? Are you what do you? There's so many variables. Do you torque the bow? Are you taking and dumping the bow on a shoot? There's so many of your variables that are going to impact how that arrow spine really is that nobody can actually answer that for you until you come out and test them. See how they fly. With that said, Three Rivers Archery, if you call them up, they've answered this question so many times. They have charts and systems and they will be able to answer it for you. But you can't just say what size arrows because your arrow is dependent on the length of the arrow, the weight of the bow that you're drawing, how long that draw length is. People are like, well, what's the draw length matter? Because it's a power stroke. It matters how long that arrow is going to be on that power stroke. So you need your draw length, your draw weight, you need your point weight, which is how much weight up here in the head of the arrow you plan on having. Like this particular arrow, believe it or not, is 450 grains right here. Okay, you need to know this kind of information, and then you can call Three Rivers and give them that, and they will say, oh, that's what they're going to ask you. What's your draw length? What's your draw weight? What's your tip weight? And, that kind of thing. What weight broadhead are you planning on shooting? Broadheads are more expensive than any other part of the arrow. So you're going to let the broadheads you want to shoot dictate that setup probably, or you're going to buy broadheads to match it afterwards. But it's important. They will get you dialed in. They will get you very, very close. And then you can cut them. You bare shaft tune them. You shoot them. And if they're, if they're too weak, then you can cut them down shorter as long as you got enough room before you run out of your draw length. You can cut them shorter to get that number down and get it stiffer. If they're already too stiff, you can't go longer. You can add more point weight. So I'm not getting too carried away with that. We're keeping this very basic. But your bow weight, your bow that you buy, there are many amazing bows out there in the under $200 range, $150 range. Tons of them. Black Hunter, Sandalia, Samick Sage, all of these, and I'm sure there's more. I don't know many of the other ones, but there's a lot of great bows out there that are very affordable, do a great job. What bow weight should you go with? I stand in a different world of philosophy here. A lot of people think you should go with like a 35-pound bow or a 30-pound bow and then build up to something else. And I really don't. I think that, because I didn't start that way. Okay. I honestly, my first traditional bow was a 55-pound Martin Mamba, and at my draw length, it was 50 pounds. I was happy with that. And it didn't take, but it took like, 5 days of shooting, and I had that thing where I could shoot 100 arrows out of it. So at first, your muscles will be sore because with a compound, your muscles are here. That's all you're waiting, and boom, it's easy. With this, it's harder as you go back. It's different muscle groups. So I understand where people say run a little lighter, and that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. My opinion, get a 45-pound bow, okay? This is my wife's 45-pound bow. This is my wife's bow right here. This one's 45-pound bow. She draws 27.5 inches on this thing, so she's shooting 43 pounds. My daughter, you shouldn't have a problem shooting 45 pounds, is my opinion. It shouldn't be a big deal for you. So unless you got some kind of arthritis or shoulder or some kind of a problem, but for most people, 45 won't be too tough. If you're not comfortable with that, go down lighter. But buy the bow, Know your draw length ahead of time so you know what you're getting into, and that's how you do it, how I just showed you with the cardboard, so that you're all set to go. And then you can order your bow at the weight you want or go buy it. And then you can also get your arrows set up by calling Three Rivers. Now, the other thing you're going to need is you're going to need a tab or a glove, shooting glove or a tab. And you're going to also need to know whether you are going to shoot split finger or 3 under. Probably if you're just starting out, you're probably going 3 under. Most people today do. But 3 under would be, sorry, I'm left-handed doing this in the right-handed world, okay? 3 under would be shooting this way, 3 fingers under the string. Split finger is where 1 goes over top and 2 go under that way, like that. You will have to decide, because your tab, this is a tab for a split finger. It is designed to wrap above and below that arrow, as you're seeing on here, to go above and below just like that. Or you can get a solid one for going 3 under. You don't want this type of a setup. And if you're shooting a glove, you're shooting a glove. So these are things that you got to kind of figure out. This is not like a compound where it's one size fits all for every single person. Doesn't exist that way here. Everything is personal. And again, things will matter. How deep you hook the string, how deep your fingers come into that string will matter. Is it real deep? Are you shallow? Are you fingertip shooting? All these things are going to be a factor that is unpredictable. This is not the world of mechanical releases, hard walls, let-offs, and things like that where everything is uniform. There is no uniform to this. It's a trial and error kind of thing to figure it out. So, but hopefully this is enough to get you started on what you need and why you need it and how to get it kind of set up the way you want to. Now, once you get your bow, there are a couple quick setups you got to do. One of them will be your brace height. Brace height is measured from the inside of the grip to the string. So you're basically talking about this. Now keep in mind, one of these is not legit numbers because they are measured from this little notch here where the string goes through there is 0. Okay, so this is not 0. This is almost, this is like 3/8 of an inch off. Just keep that in mind. But you're measuring from this distance, from the throat of the grip to here, that is going to be your brace height. Okay, the manufacturer of the bow will usually have a recommended brace height for you that is going to give you a starting point. And then you can take it from there. So start there, and then you can shoot it, and as you twist up or twist more, twists in or out of the string, then it will change the dynamics of that. You know, the noises coming out of there, the feel, maybe hitting your arm will slow down. So there's some things to play with there. The other one is your knock height. Your knock height is also what this bow square is used for because it is going to show you where you're at in relationship to center right here like this. So this will go on here. And here's what I was talking about. See the difference between the center of that string and here? This is not center here, or not 0. This is 0. But right here, and then you can see they got a gauge on the side for where your knock's going to want to be above the center of the shelf. Like that is how we do that. And you're probably going to want to be somewhere about a 1/2 inch on average. If you're 3 under, you're probably going to want to be 1/2 inch, maybe a little more. Split finger could be 3/8, 1/2 inch, but about a 1/2 inch above is where you're normally going to want to be at. Somewhere is a starting point. But this will get you dialed in. That's all there is to it. And, you know, sweet, simple, easy, nothing crazy. But a lot of people don't understand that. What do I get started and how it is coming from the compound world? Different, completely different. No set rules as far as that stuff goes. Figure out your draw length. Figure out the bow weight you want. Fortunately, a lot of these mass-produced bows are easily to be returned. So, like if you're buying them at Amazon or even Bass Pro Shop sells a lot of these, but if you buy one and you realize you screwed up and got one that's way too heavy, they're returnable. Okay, so you can usually return it and get something lighter if you need to. If you bought something light, you go, oh, this is way too light, I need something heavier. Plus, you can buy extra limbs for these. These do take down. So you can take these limbs off of this and you can get heavier ones. I think for the Samick Sage are about $75 for 2 new limbs, heavier weight limbs, which is nice. You will also, most bows will come with a stringer, but I recommend you get a good one like this Selway. Selway makes the best string quiver ever made for a recurve. Okay, this pocket style, but basically what you do is you take this and you put the cup over the bottom limb, just like that, and then you pull the string up, and you put the rubber cup, you put the limb through the hole, and you put the rubber cup on there, and this is going to let you, that cup holds against the limb, but it's going to let you unstring this. And then basically you are going to step on this, coming way out here so you can see, but you're going to step on the string on the ground, hold this there, and then you are going to lift it up and release the string. Okay, it's that easy. This is how you also string it. You're going to put it right there like that. You're going to pull up on this, and you're going to slide that string up onto there. So real simple, easy, but you can see what this cup does. So it's going to let me, you can still, hang on. Thought it would be easier than this, but I can't. Anyway, the stringer lets you take the string off the top loops. Okay, it's really simple to do, nothing to it. Again, I'm not readjusting everything, but it'll let you take this and do that. Pull the string loop here so that it's there and set. And then while you have your stringer on there, when you're storing your bow, little side tip for you, leave it connected to the bottom cup. Grab the string and slide it up so that it stays up there nice. Take your stringer and just wrap it around here a couple of times, and then just feed it through itself like that, and now it acts as a string keeper, and it'll keep your string from running down the bow while you're actually throwing your bow in a truck and stuff like that. So that's how that basically works. This is not complicated, but you got to understand a few things. Now you can also see we're 16 minutes into this thing, and you can see how it sucks to type all this out in a comment when somebody just asked, how do I get started? Okay, their 5-word sentence turns into me spending a half hour typing, and I can't do it no more. So hopefully this video, now I can just say, oh, watch this video. Hopefully it helps you. Any questions, comments, put them below for sure. Thanks for watching.